Hello, everyone. T.I. Dave, back by the grace of God. Today I have a couple of things I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you a brain surgeon talking about this program and exposing some deep stuff. And if you'd like a link to that whole video, which um, I'm just going to show the first 18 minutes of it. And then I'm going to show, Trump talking about 6G, and they're trying to present the 6G to him, and he says, "What's it going to do? Let us look under your skin more." Get a deeper look under your skin, and that's the seriousness of it. We're in serious times. Also, bioengineered foods and everything. Campbell's, Nutter Butters, Nabisco's got a lot of stuff. Ritz Crackers got bioengineered food. We just went through a lot of stuff yesterday and looked at it, and we were like, wow. So cereals, a lot of your cereals got it. And if you've got that, what I've noticed is if you've got that Fetch app that pays you to take pictures of your receipts and all that, a lot of them products they're recommending has bioengineered ingredients. So certain mayonnaise has bioengineered. Hellman's mayonnaise has bioengineered. I don't think Duke's has bioengineered. I'm just saying, stay clear of it, and you're going to see why. So I don't know if I'm gonna start with the brain surgeon first. Then I'm going to show you the clip of Trump saying that um, about 6G. They were presenting it to him. Um, so it's not no secret that 6G is here, and um, I think the best thing to do right for us is to keep our body detoxed. Um, and I ask that you know I respect my viewers who when I give my research and what I think about certain stuff, they don't hold it against me, and they realize, I don't hold it against how they believe. If you believe zeolite and uh methylene blue work and don't do what my research comes up and says it does, fine, do that. I'm not hating on you, but I'm just telling you what my research comes up with, and I ask that you don't hold it against me. I got a whole thing of zeolite sitting over here on the thing I haven't touched anymore ever since I found out. But so these products are going to be helped to augment us, and that's from my research. Okay, so what they've been, this is interesting. What Jack Cruz says about this. Watch, and here we go. Let me get into it. Oh yeah, and I just want to thank everybody for their support, sticking by us all these years. Um, we're very busy with responsibilities around here, but we're still doing what we can, and we're still going to be doing interviews and all of that. And I'm trying to really figure out um how to go about bettering this channel, making it a better advocate for TIs and helping TIs. Our area of help, when I say help, I don't mean stopping this program because I've lost faith in that. We wrote Jim Jordan, talked to Trey Gowdy. We filed FOIA requests and they always got denied. We cannot release the information. We've been through all that for years. My first FOIA request was in 2018. And I also wrote the life insurance thing to see if I had a policy on me in 2018. So, I've wrote three FOIA requests and always get the same thing that they could not release the information. So, anyway, but I'm not telling you not to file FOIA requests. Sometimes people get lucky. Um, but anyway, we will have some interviews coming up. But anyway, let's get to this information. This is some real good information. Okay, there we go. Well, I'm going to show the Trump clip first, then I'm going to go to the brain surgeon.
Next feature. Now they cover every little. Let's see. And then we're just going to finish with 2 points. There are two exciting things happening in the world of technology coming right now. One is as AI become the new form of computing, AI is going not only to the data center, but to everything, to cars, to PCs. And we see now the ability to run models that you can only run AI in the data center. You can run that on a microcomputer, on a computer for Enrique, on a server, with small server on premise. So I think we're going to see the proliferation of AI. The other one is 6G. We have made a commitment working with your administration, working with FCC. We're going to accelerate 6G. We're working to launch first in the world in that LA Olympics. And I think that's another opportunity for America to lead in the next wireless evolution. So thank you. I thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the partnership. And we're going to be hard at work, I think, driving that agenda. So we're into 6G now. I just told you I was a leader on 5G getting that done, and now they're up to 6. Let's do it again. What does that do? Give you a little bit deeper view into somebody's skin?
There you have it. Now let's jump on into the brain surgeon, um, because I have a lot of stuff to get done today. So let's see. Okay, let me get downsize this. Okay, we're gonna go over here.
By Robert O. Becker.
Okay, now this is a brain surgeon who goes and works on brains every day for those who just think that we're crazy and they can't do nothing. They can't do nothing to us, and um, I'm just getting on here being dramatic, and I'm just crazy and all this, and I just think these bouts of nausea and vertigo and shocks to the brain every time I close my eyes, and vibrations and stuff being pumped in my head, trying to make me doubt myself and criticizing me and keep me in fear and the little street and all that stuff. I just make it up and everybody on YouTube and everybody around the world on these social media things crying out, some of them screaming and crying in pain and horror. All that stuff's made up. I doubt it. This brain surgeon goes to work every day and works on brains. You think they're gonna let a crazy man? So this dude's saying he's a brain surgeon, but when I say it, I get dismissed as what? Schizophrenic, whatever you may call it. Anyway, let's let this video speak for itself.
Gets canceled by the same group of people. Why? Because he's doing work on non-native EMF electropollution for the U.S. Navy. And the story that people don't really understand is how this ties to the progression that I made in the Danny Jones podcast. This is MK Ultra, graduates to SRI, Stanford Research Institute. Then magically under Obama in 2013, you have the Brain Health Initiative. All of a sudden, everything goes to Central and South America. So I would have thought in some of these podcasts, ones I did with Danny, ones I've done with Adrian D'Amico, ones I did with Bull Ward, but the last one, the big one, was when Breedlove came down here for 4 days and interviewed me, told them bits and pieces, and no one's asked me the real question. Why in the fuck did this thing morph? Well, turns out another guy, a part of this program, is a guy named Alan Fry. In the late 60s, he takes the work of Jose Delgado, the guy that everybody knows about the bull and the wires in the head. And then I told Danny at the end of this process, they found out they didn't need wires, they didn't need chips, they could do it with light. And he goes, what? That is the last.
They can do it with light. All right, so I want to tell you a story before he goes into this. Our kitchen table where we sit to eat used to have 4 LED bulbs in it, and every time I would sit down, I wouldn't even be able to sit down and eat dinner for 5 minutes, and I would have to get up and just walk around, put the migraine cap on, ice cap on, because I was getting fried, nauseated. I'd have to take a Zofran, vertigo shocks. So this went on for about a year, and I'm like, man, and she would burn up at the table too. So I find these incandescent bulbs on Amazon. They were pricey, but we bought them. And we put them in there, and I haven't had to get up from the dinner table since. And a lot of our bulbs around here are LED, unfortunately. But listen what he's fixing to say. And after listening to this video, I probably will we try to figure out how to get incandescent bulbs no matter what they cost because it has a big effect on us.
Part of the story that nobody seems to understand. So they begin to realize that they can use light frequencies to destroy the leptin melanocortin pathways in the brain to control people. They don't need LSD. They don't need mescaline. They don't need anything else. Okay. And the reason why this program gets changed is during its evolution, they find out that people that have heavily melanated skin are the most difficult to control. Okay. So there's another DARPA program
Any melanated people watching this, I hope y'all caught that.
that you may have heard about. I'm sure Whitney Webb and Mark Godwin have heard about it, but have never linked it to this story. It's called the Targeted Individual Program. In other words, how you control people utilizing remote technology. Well, who's the guy that actually really discovered this whole thing? Alan Fry. Alan Fry is looked at a good guy in my world. Why? He's the first guy that showed that when you zap a brain with any type of electromagnetic radiation, it opens the blood-brain barrier. So you can take bad shit and get it in. What magically happens in the United States at that time? People start making processed food. What also magically happens? Drugs start to come on market, and they have a lot of fillers and preservatives in them. Guess what? All those fillers and preservatives and all the fake processed shit was really about. It was about figuring out how to get toxins from your gut into your brain so that you could electromagnetically target them.
Bingo.
That is actually what happens between MK Ultra into SRI. What do they find out in SRI? Where does the program stall? 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011. That's magically when Obama says we're going to get rid of incandescent bulbs, we're going to go to LEDs. What do they find out? Because LED bulbs remove UV and red light, have a huge blue spike. Turns out the blue spike can actually be used to control people through the dopamine pathway. How does that work? You go back and listen carefully to what I said to Danny, and he.
I'm sorry, I have to take an important call and then I will be back. Let me pause this thing and I'll hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. Let me get back to the share screen.
Clearly didn't get it, even though he's done podcasts with people that told him this in the past. Dopamine, or I should say melanin, breaks down into dopamine. If you open the blood-brain barrier, dopamine floods the brain and it causes brain damage. Anybody who's a healthcare practitioner, I guarantee you, when Kevin listens to this, he'll understand it, knows that when we use dopamine in an ICU setting, we have to be extremely careful with it, when we're trying to elevate their blood pressure, because a low dose, a medium dose, or a high dose can kill you. When people are in the ICU, they're around electromagnetic devices. This is the reason why. Because we're flooding their brain with dopamine, we're flooding their brain with serotonin. There's even something called the serotonin syndrome that y'all can look up and fact check Uncle Jack. This is the key things that Alan Fry finds out for DARPA. Then what does DARPA originally do? Not only are they using directed energy weapons to try to control this, they are now checking this at scale in the United States. So what two things happen at the end of Obama's term that you guys may remember that's tied to this story? There is two things that happen. First thing is a young African-American attorney who went to Florida State named Myron May goes into the Florida State Library with a gun, shoots the library up, doesn't shoot anybody else. And what does he do? He sends 10 people a package with the story of what I'm telling you right now. And he says, I know they're targeting me, but I don't know why. How did this all start? It's a very interesting story when you delve into it. He's comes from
Never forget what he said about the processed foods.
a poor background, had no medical problems, He had a Fitzpatrick score of 4. He wasn't like Nairobi, Kenya, but pretty dark. He starts to date a pediatrician from New Mexico. And magically, after they're dating for a while, he starts to complain of horrible back pain around his kidney and adrenal gland. He starts telling her, I think I need to go to the doctor. She goes, no, just treat it this way, that way. He goes to see a doctor in New Mexico who's a known entity in the DARPA program. He gets prescribed medications for ADHD. The pediatrician goes, why in the hell would they put you on something like this? What happens from there? He goes back to Florida. His behavior becomes more bizarre. He's telling people that he hears voices in his head. He has horrible pain in his chest and he doesn't know why. Ultimately, something happens to him where he figures out that somebody from the outside is actually targeting him for a reason and he doesn't know why. Here's the key part of the story, Marty. Turns out when you have a lot of melanin both inside and outside your body, this direct targeting device is bidirectional. See, when you don't have a lot of melanin, when they shoot it into you, you actually become a zombie, an obedient idiot. But when you're highly melanated, because what does melanin do? It absorbs massive amounts of radiation. For those of you who don't believe this, you can actually go look at the tests that we did on the hydrogen bomb, okay, on the atolls in the South Pacific. You may be shocked to hear this, but when we did that test, the United States military didn't even know what the thermonuclear capability of the bomb was that they were going to set off. Turned out they thought it was going to be about 7.5 megatons. It turned out, reality of the test, it was 15 megatons. That means that the blast area went into areas where regular people from the South Pacific live. There's pictures that show these people lost their melanin in certain places on their body. You know why? It's that melanin.
And you know what's weird? I've always wondered, and if you see pictures of me, I have a lot of Native American in me. One of my grandpas is full-blooded Cherokee, so if you see pictures of me, um, 20 years ago, uh, maybe a little later than that, I'm very, very dark. So over the years, and I guess staying inside don't help either. But what I'm saying is, even when I was out in the sun over the years, I especially, let's see, 2017, well, I would say 2014, anyway, a few years, I started noticing like I'm losing my darkness, I wasn't dark, dark, um, like, but I was dark. Just put it that way. It looked like I had a tan. I didn't have to go to the tanning bed or nothing. So I had a lot of melanin in my skin. So I think this is interesting, of what he's talking about. So I'm gonna rewind it, see, just for a few minutes right here. See, listen what he says. You start losing see, I started getting lighter and lighter and lighter, and
Their melanin in certain places on their body. You know why? Because that melanin absorbed the radiation blast for them. Okay? That's documented out there. So the government begins to realize that if they're going to use these devices as a weapon of war, that they've got to test it at scale on different folks. Turned out all the stuff that you hear about the TI people that are out there, these are people that are the randomized controlled clinical trial of DARPA on their own people before this weapon is ready for prime time. Just so you know, Marty, you may be asking, well, the Russians had the same technology as us. Why don't we see the same program there? Well, the Russians try to warn us. And this is where Becker's research comes in. Do you know, you can look this up, there used to be something called the woodpecker frequency that emitted from Ukraine that went all the way around the globe at a specific latitude. This was an EMF device that the Russians put out to warn the United States that if you guys don't change what you're doing in terms of adopting electromagnetic radiation through cell technology, you're going to create a huge problem for people. And then when the United States military did enlist them, what did Russia do? This is where the Moscow embassy event happens. Remember, you probably heard as a young man about Havana syndrome, where all these guys in Cuba got zapped, right? You don't, you probably don't remember learning anything about what happened in the Moscow embassy. The Russians took a pulse microwave device and pointed it at the U.S. embassy in Moscow from 1967 all the way to 1973. In that time frame, they had more diagnosis of tinnitus, Meniere syndrome, voices, mental illness, but here's the big one. We had 3 straight ambassadors develop blood cancers. Okay? Turns out in 1973, Henry Kissinger, Secretary of State, has to give hazard pay to anybody who was in the embassy at that time. Do you know how they solved the problem? You want to know where the idea of tinfoil hats came from, my friend? They put tinfoil all up in the U.S. embassy when they found out what the Russians were doing. And what did the Russians tell them? We're trying to warn you that what you're about to do is going to be a big problem. 1973, Marty. Guess what else happens in 1973? Becker does the key paper on the sanguine antenna to use RF radiation pulsed to check all the Trident submarines all over. And he finds out through his work that this is a huge problem. So the Secretary of Navy and the other parts of DARPA know that this is a big issue because they're working on both parts of this story. So Becker gets so frustrated from 73 to 77, kind of like Kevin was about his story that you've been documenting with him every time you have him on. And he goes on 60 Minutes and tells the world the truth. Guess what happens to him? He gets fucking Bernice Evied. Literally, they take all his money away. How do you censor a scientist? You just take their money away. And basically, a guy that's twice nominated for the Nobel Prize for his work in tissue regeneration, utilizing bioelectricity, gets zapped. Why? Also, the government continue this DARPA program that then gets morphed in 2008. First to get rid of incandescents and then to put LEDs. Then it gets even more nefarious. Obama says we need to figure out how to get brown people more controlled.
Okay. I'm going to stop that right there, but I'm going to play another thing that goes along with it, and then I'm done. If you want the link to this video, ask me. I will put it in the comments. If you want a link to the Donald Trump thing, I'll put a link in the comments for that. Now it does say I read something about AI being regulated and all that, but who knows? I'm still trying to fact check that. So anyway, this is very important too. And this is I wasn't going to share that, but then I got to thinking this is very important. I need to share this. This is why I wear these blue light glasses, okay? And this is the last thing I'm sharing today. Okay. We're going to exit this screen. Exit full screen. And we're going to take that out. Okay. Sorry for the play-by-play. I don't know why I'm... Okay, since... Okay, here we go. Okay, you've never seen such a sight in your life. Scientists transformed ordinary mice into fierce predators using a technique called optogenetics, where they can control neurons with light, blue light here. When the light was off, the mice were calm, even avoiding prey. But with the blue light on, they aggressively attacked and beheaded crickets and bit hard on toy prey. If a beam of blue light can switch aggression on and off in a mammal, imagine what unfiltered blue light from your screen's doing to you. It's important about the blue light glasses, okay? All right, now watch this. You see that blue light being shot into the head, making him aggressive? And it's horrible what they're doing to that rat. I don't approve of it. I'm an animal lover. We feed cats out here that are strays and take care of them very well. And even though some of them by name have named some of them, so I don't approve of this. But I think it's very important because some people have to see it to believe it. So you see, he's being passive. He's not attacking that caterpillar or whatever that thing. Oh, okay. And see, every time they hit him with that blue light, attacking. Optogenetics. And what did Jack Cruz, the brain surgeon, say? They found a way without wires or anything to do this. Now, I guess I don't know why they're doing it with the mice like that hooked up. I guess so they can inject blue light straight into his brain. But anyway, um, laser off. You see, he's being very, very passive. Laser on, there he goes. So, folks, this stuff is very, very real. And I think I've even I said this in my live the other day. Uh, which I was kind of disappointed in myself on that live because, uh, I've been working on my sensitizations, and the smiley face one is a deep embedded sensitization that I've been trying to overcome. But understand, when I see a smiley face, it takes me back right to that spot where, and when I used to get them text messages, and I could feel the emotion. Sometimes I just feel the emotion of fear that happened every time I seen that, or it'll take me back to that spot under that bush when I woke up every day and seen it and make me experience the motion. Sometimes it'll just make me experience the motion. But anyway, blue light glasses are very important. Uh, I everybody in this house has one, has a pair. Blue light is very, very, because they know you're going to look at screens. So I recommend you research optogenetics, and I imagine a time when there's going to be a way you can unaugment, and you're going to have to go to some dude way that's very, very well protected and pay him some money to unaugment, and then you can't be seen in public, or like Blade Runner or something. I mean, I think we're getting there, and it's sick. So try to keep all that junk food out of your body if you can, especially, and keep your body, blueberries. If you can find organic blueberries, if you're, um, or blueberries, garlic, cilantro. Do it naturally. That's what I recommend if you can. Now, a lot of this food's compromised and stuff. So there is ways around it. If you got to, but you got to know uh, these farmers and small farmers and stuff to actually get non-GMO foods. I'm imagining, or to try to find stuff that hasn't been tainted. So, fasting is very important, I would say, after what I just heard, for the TI. And, um, so anyway, learn your sensitizations too, because if you can break, I was thinking, and I wrote that stuff about triggers and stuff. That was me writing that. That wasn't no, because I was thinking the other night, and I said, you know what? If we could learn all our sensitizations, and I realize, in some targets they're still creating sensitizations every day, so, but if we can learn what we're sensitized to, and not be affected and not let it take us back to that emotion or memory, then and we can learn and do that with all our sensitizations. Every time you notice you're sensitized to something, write it down, work on it. So every time you see it, try not to have that reaction. Even though it takes you there, try to learn how to break that. Then you break a whole layer of mind control off of you, because in the first phase, they sensitize you to this stuff on purpose, because it keeps you going back, keeps you in fear emotion or whatever emotion you felt when you seen that. It keeps you not trusting certain people because they're doing them certain things. You got to understand, influence mapping, negative association conditioning is very, very deep part of trauma-based mind control. So anyway, uh, may the Most High bless every TI out there. And I just want to let y'all know, uh, you know, most nights, and especially lately, we have been praying over that prayer list. And so y'all are in our prayers, the ones that are on that list. We don't just say we're going to pray for you and not do it. We actually do pray over that prayer list. So just letting you know that you're in our prayers, and we hope we're in yours. So God bless.